Hi. I don't really know how to do the intro for this new channel, but welcome. We have been working on a bunch of things over the last few weeks to get ready for this, and now it is finally time. Making an entirely new channel has been something Metal and I have been tossing around for a while due to some reasons that I'll talk about later. You can also find a detailed reason for this on our Discord and posted on Twitter. But one of those reasons that I'll focus on now was kind of separating the homebrew stuff from the official stuff. So the main GMD channel is still going to have all the subclasses, species, backgrounds, and everything like that. While on this channel, we're probably going to do things that might bend but never really break the rules of D&D. That means character builds, class and subclass reviews once the new stuff comes out at the end of the year, and maybe some story times. Oh, we also have something that is a bit more interactive with you guys, but that is a surprise, so if you want to see that, which I think will be really fun, subscribe to the channel and leave us some comments. Let's get the ball rolling and see just how fast we can get this new channel to 1K. And with our first video here on the new channel, we're keeping with a bit of a theme with GMD. While over on GMD, I went over a revised version of the Kitsune race and sorcerer origin I made for the very first videos of the channel. Here we are going to be going over and breaking down a very Kitsune-like character. There's a few options to go with, but for today, that character is going to be...
No one will stand in my way.
Ahri from League of Legends. Yeah, I still play League, sometimes. Ahri grew up far away from civilization with a pack of ice foxes. As far back as she can remember, these foxes were her only family. And despite their clear differences, the pack still accepted her as one of their own. But Ahri is not an ice fox. She is what's known on Runeterra as a Vestian, but her specific clan is unknown. Vestians are a large group of people that are known to have animal-like features. Ears, tails, feathers, and sometimes appearing completely animalistic like Rengar, who's pretty much just a tiger on steroids. But Ahri pretty much only has the ears and tail, being a fox Vestian. In her old lore, she was actually a fox who turned into a human, but I am not tackling that. It wasn't until much later when Ahri found a wounded human and was somehow able to absorb their life force that Ahri left her pack and started to get closer to humans, for better or worse. So right away, this gives us a pretty good base for Ahri. She grew up with wild animals and is part of a race that is well known for having animal-like traits. She even has some magic she wasn't fully aware of and can't completely control, which tells us a lot. First off, for Ahri's background, I think Outlander fits perfectly. She was literally raised by fun-sized wolves, and this gives her both athletics and survival for her skills. On top of that, she has those very fluffy-looking tails, and unless you're playing my Kitsune race, link in the description, your best bet here is to go with a Swift Stride Shifter. This lets her see in the dark for better hunting, and when shifted, she gets an extra 10 feet of movement speed, and can reaction run away if someone gets too close. Yeah, given how quickly Ahri players dash off into the fog of war, this is just as annoying as it is fitting. It used to be that races gave a flat +1 and +2 to predetermined stats, but I don't like that, most people didn't like that, now we can just put them wherever we want. So for Ahri's stats, I think something like this works really well. Ahri's main thing for a while was her charm, and with the classes I'm looking at, Charisma is going to be her most valuable stat. So 15 +1 there. And after that, Dex needs to be pretty high for catching animals while hunting, so we're also going to put a 14 with a +2 in Charisma. After that, the rest aren't really as important. 13 in Wisdom for Perception and Insight, 12 in Con since she's kind of a glass cannon, 10 in Intelligence since, again, she grew up with foxes. I'm not even sure she could read before absorbing that from someone. And Strength is at 8, she has noodle arms, look at them. And that is that for stats. Now we can take a look at her other abilities and decide fully on her class. Ahri's magic is a mystery even to her, allowing her to consume the essence and memories of people, even making them hallucinate vividly during their last moments as she consumes them. She can make them forget certain memories, like making a fortune teller who tried to cut off one of her tails completely forget they even met. This same magic also allows her to charm and calm creatures, causing animals and people alike to remain perfectly calm while the hungry fox lady starts to drink their memories right out of their head. Yeah, I don't really have a visual for this one. What am I supposed to use here? An illithid? No. But Ahri is far from limited to just charming. Her magic can also form and control Foxfire. In-game, Ahri has 4 abilities plus her passive that all work with her charming, essence draining, and Foxfire abilities. Her passive Essence Theft lets Ahri steal the life from creatures she kills in order to heal. Orb of Deception is a very basic damaging spell that kind of boomerangs back to her, which might be hard to replicate if I can do that at all. Foxfire forms 3 floating wisps around her that fire off after a few seconds. And of course, her main weapon that she will use to have you walking right into her entire team for a spanking, her charm. She also has her ult, letting her shoot even more Foxfire while dashing around like she got into the catnip. Now with all these abilities in mind, I think I have a good fit for most of them. Ahri's inherent magic really only fits with one class in D&D, that being the sorcerer. And because of the mind control and charming abilities she has, I think our best option is to go with the Aberrant Mind Sorcerer, giving her the ability to speak directly into your brain, even if that's more of a Sona thing. It also lets her get some other sorcerer things, like Heightened Spell and Subtle Spell for her meta magic options. If the deer can hear you chanting your spell, it's not going to stick around to find out. So Subtle Spell works great there, and Heightened Spell really helps for the Garen types, making sure they are more easily captured by her charm, or fireballs, or both. Now how far Ahri is going to go into Sorcerer is important, since going too far might risk getting abilities that she doesn't have, and mess with her ASIs. It could also limit multiclassing, missing out on other important features that she would need to complete her build. So I think a total of 6 levels into Aberrant Mind Sorcerer hits the sweet spot, letting her grab 1 ASI, which will come in the form of the Fey Touched feat for Misty Step and a free cast of Charm Person. And the great thing with feats that give you spells, sure, you only have 1 free cast of them, but you can then later on use your normal spell slots to cast them again. You know that spell, you just can't cast it for free more than once per day. So taking Fey Touch not only gives her a free cast each, but it also expands her overall spell list. But before we can dive into her full-on spells, we need to take a look at the cantrips we're going to give Ahri here. I'm thinking Firebolt for her basic attack, Friends for a very low and not great charm, and Mage Hand because it's Mage Hand, you can flavor it as like her tails or something. That works. And after that, then we can grab some more impactful spells for her kit from Sorcerer. And I think I want to tackle her Orb of Deception first, which I can only really think of 2 options for. First, Chromatic Orb lets you pick fire damage, just throw it at them. And the second one, which technically can return to you, would be Flaming Sphere. It is 1 level higher, but I think it still fits. After that, grab Disguise Self, since Ahri can hide her Vestian nature, Calm Emotions because of the whole deer thing from before, and for her little floating fox fireballs, Melf's Minute Meteor is like a perfect 1-to-1 match to her Foxfire ability.
It was perfect.
Seriously, it's perfect. There are 3 of them, they float around you for a little bit, and you can launch them all individually, even at different targets. Now, just a minute ago, I mentioned multiclassing, and this is going to be one of those areas where I kind of bend the rules a little bit, since Warlock fits really well with some of the abilities that I need for Ahri. But Ahri also isn't under the control of some higher power. No one has a grip on Ahri's soul, and no one's coming to take all the essence she's been collecting. So, a bit of a flavor break for Warlock, but not a big deal like everything else. I want Warlock for a few reasons. The Archfey patron fits really well, and gives her some more options for charming, quick escapes, and even a full-on immunity to charms that are targeting her. And since I don't usually like to use 3 classes in one build unless it really calls for it, this is where the rest of Ahri's levels are going. And 14 levels of Archfey Warlock gives Ahri a lot to work with. Let's start with invocations, since those are pretty customizable. Armor of Shadows is a must-take, just getting free mage armor, so her AC is already going to be at 16. Beast Speech is also pretty fitting for Ahri. It's Beast Speech. Talk to beasts. She grew up with foxes, so yeah. Eldritch Mind is also great if you're going to have a lot of concentration spells, and a lot of charm spells require concentration, so take that one, as well as Trickster's Escape, which is pretty much the equivalent of using a Quicksilver Sash to get out of anything holding her down, so her very small HP bar doesn't catch the spiky end of a Mord Mace. It It lets you cast freedom of movement so you don't get restrained or anything like that. But she also gets some very important spells here, like Hold Person, Fear, and a really big one, Charm Monster. Nothing is like a free turn with a monster not fighting the party, so you can just rest for a second, heal up, or get a free turn of just wailing on it while it recovers from the spell. Warlocks also get the feature Mystic Arcanum here, and overall, Ahri is going to get 3 of these. This is like mid-editing the video, GMD. I realize I made a mistake here. Mystic Arcanum starts at 11th level with 6th level spells, not with 5th level spells. So you're only going to get 2, one at 6th level and one at 13th level, because the next one is at 15th, and Ahri isn't getting that. So yeah, back to Past Me, who's more alive. These really help cover some of the stuff that we haven't been able to for Ahri in terms of abilities, like her removing memories and absorbing souls. This is where you can grab these spells either Modify Memory or Dream for the 5th level option. You can really go with either one, just whichever one you think is going to be more beneficial. And it is kind of weird getting Ahri's passive so late into the build at a total of 17 levels, but the level 6 spell Soul Cage works amazingly for Essence Theft. Letting Ahri heal, borrow experience from, or ask questions to the soul that she just killed and stole with this spell as a reaction. And the last spell for Ahri is going to be Power Word Pain. It lets you make someone feel a bunch of pain. It doesn't do any damage, but you try swinging a sword at someone while your gut is busy writhing around like a snake. And that's not even touching on the actual features from the Archfey Warlock, which I think fit really well for Ahri as well, and her heavy use of charms and dashing away at the slightest hint of danger. Fey Presence just lets Ahri charm as many creatures as she wants, as long as they're within a 10-foot radius of her. And if she isn't feeling particularly hungry, she can also make them afraid of her instead. Misty Escape is just more get out of jail free cards for her, pretty much casting Misty Step as a reaction to getting hit, and after teleporting, it makes her invisible. So just like the real Ahri, the moment she gets hit, she's dashing back to Fountain. Like I mentioned before, she also becomes immune to charms and can reflect charms back at people who try to cast them on her with Beguiling Defense. Or something else Ahri actually does, charming someone and making them hallucinate as she drains their essence with Dark Delirium. Technically the charm in this breaks if they take any damage, but she can just use this as a way to send someone off with a nice dream of their family or something like that before she finishes eating them. Or alternatively, she can send them to the afterlife with all the PTSD. And with 14 levels here, Ahri picks up 3 more ASIs, which for her are going to go into her stats, with 2 into Charisma to max it out so she can be the most charming fox you'll ever see, even if she's probably the last fox you're ever going to see, and a +2 in Dex for a total of +4, giving her an AC of 17 with Armor of Shadows, which, it's Armor of Shadows. You're going to have it up for free all the time. This build focuses a lot on charming and controlling enemies while your team beats them to a bloody pulp. And honestly, once the laning phase is done, that is kinda Ahri's role. Charm someone, pull them in, and blast them down with a bunch of damage. And being able to pull a squishy character from behind the tanks and into your front lines for your team is irreplaceable. I also appreciate how this build is effectively immune to any Evelyn build I ever do in the future, because Evelyn also focuses on charms, and Ahri's immune to those. Evelyn will probably also be immune if I decide to go with the same Warlock, but if I ever come to that, we'll deal with it then. And that's it. I know the format is probably going to change a little bit as I get a feel for the purely character-focused videos, and if you guys think it might be easier to follow a more level-by-level kind of guide, then I might change to something more similar to that, but I just don't think I would enjoy doing a thing that goes from level 1 to level 20 all exactly in order and going over every single spell, so I'm probably not going to do that, and we'll just focus on streamlining this format. But that's it for the build. I'll probably put the sheets on Patreon if you want them. I can either actually fill out full sheets or just give you guys the information document I made here, which is also on Homebrewery like everything else I make. But that is up to you guys. Either way, it's probably just going to be under the $1 tier. I'm not going to charge a bunch of money for a character sheet that you guys could just make following the video for the most part. But it will be there if you want it. Okay, so I think it's time we address the grump in the room. Why the second channel? Well, I said at the beginning that we wanted to kind of separate the homebrew stuff from the official stuff. so people who don't like homebrew can come here and vice versa. But that's only one of the reasons. The big reason is it's kind of a test. I'm sure you guys are aware of just how strange the YouTube algorithm is, and we made a bit of a mistake fairly early on in our channel's life, using the YouTube and Google promotions button. It's exactly what it sounds like. You pay YouTube some money, and they promote your video. But there are some real big issues with this. First, it's really inconsistent. Some videos spent the same amount of money as a different video, but YouTube showed it to way more people, or way fewer people, both using the same time slot on the same day of the week. But they would have drastically different numbers for just how many impressions they got. Not how many people clicked on it, how many people YouTube showed it to. Second, most of the views you're going to get from it are going to hurt you more than they help, since a lot of them are going to click off pretty quickly once they realize that they're not into D&D or makeup or whatever game you're playing, which hurts your watch time, and the algorithm takes note of that. Third, these ads might also get you a bunch of subscribers, which feels awesome at first, but then you notice that you still have the same views as before, with a lot more subs. And again, the algorithm sees that. If you have 1,000 subscribers and 500 of them watch your video, it's going to see that a lot of your audience likes the video and it's going to help the video more. But if you have 50,000 subscribers and you're still only getting those initial 500 people from your channel, then suddenly the majority of your audience isn't watching your video, and the algorithm sees that and stops pushing your video, because if your audience doesn't like it, why show it to new people? Now, I do want to say, I have no actual concrete information on this. I'm only going off of what I've read, heard from other YouTubers, and experienced myself. I don't have the hard numbers. But this is just my warning. If you are going to start a YouTube channel, do not use the YouTube or Google ads to promote your stuff, which begs the question of where to promote it. Well, I don't really have an answer for that. Normally, I spend some time after the video goes up posting them on Twitter. No, I'm not calling it X, no matter how much Elon cries. There are usually a bunch of hashtags you can put on there to help with stuff like that. I usually go around on the Self-Promotion Saturday one and repost a bunch there, which does tend to help a little bit. Those are generally associated with TTRPGs, but there are ones that aren't if you're working on other stuff. But yeah, that's it. Sorry for making you guys listen to me ramble. Yeah, thank you for sticking around until the end of the video. You can go ahead and leave any suggestions for characters in the comments below or on my Discord server. Yes, I know I don't talk a lot there, but I promise, I'm alive. I just lurk everywhere I go. Even on my own server, it is just who I am. Also, at the time of writing, I have no idea what day this video is going up, so whatever day today is should be the regular day for when these videos come out from now on. Thank you guys for watching. I will see you all next week or on GMD. And as always, have a wonderful day.